In the previous video, we looked at how to create objects using the object mode and the add function, adding mesh. In this video, we're going to start to look at the edit functions that we can do in Blender. So we're going to be changing modes from the object mode, which we've been working in before, to working in edit mode. And there are three main aspects of edit mode that we're going to work in. We're going to look at the first mode in this video, which is called vertex mode. So in order to do that, I need to change from my object mode to my edit mode, which I can do from the drop-down menu in the top left, or you can just hit the tab key on the keyboard to move between the two modes. Now, essentially, every object in Blender is made up of three elements, and these elements are the vertex, the edge, and the face. Now, the simplest way to describe a vertex is basically each of these points that you can see on the edge of an object. So I'm just highlighting them at the moment, and they're lit up in white. Where they're lit up, that means that's the element which I've selected, and it's the element that I can actually edit. I can tell also that I'm in vertex mode by moving up to, again, the top left-hand side, and you can see just where I have my mouse, it's highlighted in blue, which says vertex mode. Second mode there is edge select, and third mode is face select. And these just basically refer to the part of the object that we can edit. So in this case, with this point selected, this is the actual part of the object which I'll be able to move, and I'm going to use the move tool on the main part to redefine what the vertex looks like. And as in the previous object menu, I have my move, I have my rotate, I have my scale and my transform tools. But because we've gone into edit mode, we also have some additional tools which we can work with on the object. And I'll look at those in more detail in later videos. So primarily what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the move tool, and you can see I can click on the arrows and I have quite a lot of control over what I'm doing, and I'm just going to scroll around so you can see how I'm actually modifying the content that was a cube, but I'm kind of stretching it out using the move tool. And if I want to get even more creative, I can click on the white circle and click and drag with my left-hand mouse button, and that will change the way that the object looks. Again, I'm going to click on another vertex and I can move that out and modify the shape, and I've got this kind of crazy rhomboid going on at the moment. So with the vertex, you're essentially selecting the point and you're modifying, and I'm just using the move to modify where the point goes to start to create a more abstract shape from the simple cube that I have. So vertexes are what you could describe are the simple building blocks for working in Blender. Now, the great thing about vertexes is you can also delete them to make a slightly more complicated shape, or in this case, I want to make a simpler shape by deleting a series of vertexes and then rebuilding the three-dimensional mesh around that. And to delete a vertex, all you do is click on the vertex. I'll just go to the selection arrow so you can see a little bit better. I'm going to hit delete, and I want to choose delete vertices, and what that will do is that it will actually delete the vertice from my object. And you can see that's all of a sudden hollowed out completely the object that I'm working with. Actually, half the faces have disappeared, and I'm going to do that again. I'm going to click on that point, selected point, hit delete on my keyboard and choose vertices, and you'll notice now that I've probably got a quarter of what I started with. Now, the great thing about working with vertices is that you can use them to kind of rebuild an object. So let's say this is the kind of shape that I want, but I want to rejoin this edge, sorry, this vertice to this vertice, create a thing called an edge, and this vertice to this vertice, again, create a thing called an edge. I can do that really, really easily in Blender just by hitting the point I want, holding down Shift, selecting the next point that I want. I've got 2 selected, and I've just hit the F key on the keyboard. You can see it's created what we call an edge between the 2 vertices. I'm going to come over and do the same here. Click on F, and then if I hit F again, well, got to choose all the points, Craig. So now I've chosen 3 points, so I can hit F again, and it's going to fill in and do what we call create a face. Do it once more, and scroll around and select all my points and click F, and that's all modifications and changes that I can make using the vertexes. So you can add and subtract vertexes, you can link them together to create these things called edges, and finally if you combine edges and vertices together you get things called faces. So vertices are the simple building block. You can click on them and you can move and modify them, and you can add and subtract from them to make simpler or more complex shapes. And yeah, basically they're just a really, really important tool to get used to for working inside Blender. And again, when we're in edit mode, we need to click on the vertex select, or you can click 1 on the keyboard to select vertex mode to edit.